I have done my schooling from Ladnu in Nagaur district. Then I did Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical Engineering from MBM University, Jodhpur. Thereafter, I worked for 4 years in Coal India Limited as Assistant Manager. And then I resigned from Coal India Limited in 2016 to prepare for Forest Services and Civil Service.
Okay, Vinod. So why forest services? Why do you want to become a forest service officer?
Sir, being from a rural agricultural family, nature has always fascinated me. Apart from that, sir, this service offers me an opportunity to work in one of the most important areas uh, in the coming decades, that is environment and climate change. Apart from that, sir, I can also help some of the vulnerable sections like tribals and forest dwellers being a part of this service.
Okay. So Vinod, can you take us a tour of your district? If we come to your district, which places you will take us to visit?
Yes, sir. In Nagaur district, firstly, I would take you to the hill forts of Nagaur, which is the Nagaur fort is was built in 2nd century BC. So it is an architectural marvel. Apart from that, there is a very famous temple of Mirabai. It is also called as Charbhuja temple. And after that, sir, I will take you to my own town, that is Ladnu, which is a famous Jain pilgrimage center. It has an 11th century temple, a Jain temple, which has a Saraswati statue also, which is a very good example of communal harmony in those times.
Okay.
Apart from that, sir,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
apart from that, I would also take you to my own farms and villages for, I mean, very close to nature and traditional agriculture.
Good, Vinod. Good. So, can you tell us how many national parks are there in Rajasthan, and can you name few of them?
Yes, sir. Sir, there are three national parks in Rajasthan. One is Ranthambore National Park. The second one is Kevladev Ghana, and the third one and the latest one is Mukandra Hills National
Okay. So, you wrote cricket as your hobby. Okay. So, there are two Indian players who have played six editions of World Cup. Okay. So, can you name them?
Park. Sir, one I know, Sachin Tendulkar. He played from 1992 to 2011.
Okay.
Second, I am not very sure about.
So, you can go across genders.
Okay, sir. Sir, Julan Goswami or Mithali Raj.
It's
I'm
Mithali
not
Raj.
very sure. Yes.
Okay. So, listening to audiobooks, which kinds of book do you listen to?
Sir, mostly non-fiction.
Okay. And why don't you read? Instead, you are listening to it. What is the benefits and why is it comfortable or what?
Yes, sir. It is more comfortable than reading. Listening. And secondly, I can listen to books while doing some other works, other course also, like household work, like exercising or other things also. So that is, in effect, it is multitasking.
Okay. For the time being, now over to you, Mayank sir. Okay. Thank you, Vinod.
Thank you.
Th- Thank you, Rishabh sir. Hello, Vinod.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Vinod, you are from Nagaur, Rajasthan, and Rajasthan is very famous for its mineral wealth. So, can you tell me few of the very important mineral resources of Rajasthan?
Sir, Rajasthan has around more than 57 minerals, and it is at second position in the country in terms of mineral wealth. Important minerals here are we have a monopoly in lead and zinc, and then most of the silver production of India is done from Udaipur Tower mines. Apart from that, sir, marble and these stone non-metals, they are also very famous. Marble of Nagaur, Makrana. Then we also have lignite reserves in Nagaur. Apart from that, copper is we have very good reserves of copper also in Khetri Junjun in Rajasthan.
All right. You said Zawar Mines is famous for silver. Are you sure?
Sir, I am. Yes.
All right. Is there any other resource, mineral, which is mined from Zawar Mines?
Sir, lead and zinc.
All right. So you mentioned lead, zinc, and copper. You also have a geology optional. So can you tell me how these lead, zinc, and copper are formed? Right. Just tell me the ore genesis. What are the processes which led to the formation of lead and zinc and copper?
Sir, igneous processes. I can't recall at the moment.
All right. It's hydrothermal ore forming processes, right? Do read about them. All right.
Yes, thank you.
Uh, okay. You were involved with Coal India Limited, right, for 4 years. So, Vinod, why did you leave Coal India Limited?
Sir, somewhere down the line, I realized that I was not able to do justice with my job along with my preparation. So then I took the call of leaving Pune and dedicating myself full time to prepare for civil service.
All right. So where were you posted?
Sir, I was posted in Vani, Maharashtra, in Vidarbha region.
So like you were electrical engineer. So your work was like involved. You must be involved in a mining, right? In mine. So what was
Yes.
whether it was a underground mine or a open cast mine?
Sir, I was posted in an open cast mine, so our work encompassed the availability and utilization of heavy earth moving machineries, then light vehicles like trucks and all those things, then substation, then mine lighting, quarry lighting, and all. So
All
these
right.
were our duties.
So like what are the ways in which Coal India Limited mine coal, right? Different mining methods. That is what I'm asking.
Yes, sir. Sir, one is underground mines, so room and pillar and other methods of mining.
What are
And
the other
one where I was
what are the other methods of mining of underground mine other than board and pillar method?
Sir, one is cut and fillers. And I can't recall it.
All right. Have you heard about longwall mining?
Yes, sir, I've heard about it.
Right. Can you tell me what electrical machinery is used there? The name of the main machine which is used in longwall mining.
So I'm not very sure, but I can take a guess. I think it is continuous miner.
All right. Okay. So can you tell me what are the environmental impact of open cast mine? Uh,
Yeah, sir. The very first impact is deforestation because most of these coal resources they are in forest areas. So to get to that coal, we have to sometimes cut down forests. Apart from that, the mining operations also affect environment. The first is air pollution due to the blasting and quarrying activities as well as the transport of coal. The second is water pollution. So due to leaching and the dewatering of mine, sometimes that water meets the natural sources of water, natural streams. So that again pollutes it. The third one is noise pollution also, sir, due to blasting as well as due to the operation of heavy machinery. So the nearby areas are affected by noise pollution.
all right. Have you heard about acid mine drainage?
Yes, sir, I have.
What it is?
It is the bleaching of this mine water, acidic mine water from mine to the natural water sources.
So what makes this water acidic? Right? Is there any mineral, common mineral involved with coal?
So it is uh, generally in iron ore mines. It happens generally in iron ore mines.
So what is the
I don't know the name of exact minerals.
generally it is a pyrite, right? It is a pyrite. There is a substance known as yellow boy in coal mining, right? Okay. So recently India is facing coal power crisis, right? So tell me three most important factors which has lead to this power crisis.
Sir. One was the monsoon and the last monsoon and the consequent impact on the coal operations. Because during monsoons, the mines are flooded with water. So the coal operations stop for 4 or 5 months. So whatever coal stock we have, whatever surplus coal stock we have for the lean season, that is exhausted very quickly. The second is coal mine linkage. So there are plants where coal has to be transported from long distances, especially plants in Rajasthan. So recently, Rajasthan faced this issue very much. So we have to import coal from Chhattisgarh. So due to inefficient coal linkages, like sometimes coal is imported from far away projects instead of importing it from MP projects in MP, we get it from Chhattisgarh. So that is somewhat a mismatch.
All right.
And
Like people are all right. People are also blaming Coal India Limited that despite being a monopoly, it is not able to produce enough, right? And it is also not. It is also blamed to not anticipate the power requirement in the summers, because this has been the case throughout, right? From in the last decade to one degree or the other. So do you think it is fair to criticize Coal India Limited, and Coal India Limited is at fault at some degree?
so to some extent, sir, it is true because for the last 3 years we have been able to achieve only 90% of our targets. And plus, apart from that, 82% coal reserves are under the Coal India Limited. But still, we are not able to produce the meet the demands of the nation, and we have to depend on imports also. There are some obvious limitations like the level of mechanization and the monsoon and the tough areas, the geological adversities in which the Coal Indian projects are located. But still, to some extent, we can do more. Coal India
What
could have done
all
more.
right. What was the production last year by Coal India Limited?
Sir, around 596 million tons.
Are you sure? And
Sir, by Coal India,
what was the total production in our country?
total production was somewhere around 717 million tons.
770. And what was the production year before?
717.
717. So
717.
we added 50 million. And what is the total coal reserve of India?
Sir, around 200 billion tons.
Just 200 billion. Are you sure?
Yes, sir. 200 to 300 billion tons.
All right. So, like my last two question to you, the first of that is that suppose you have been in coal sector, you have some idea about the needs, and so suppose you are a DFO of a district, right? Maybe a district in Jharkhand or maybe somewhere in Nagpur, and a new coal mine proposal has come to you, right? Whether we should set up a new coal mine, right? A new coal mine there or not, right? So, what will seeing the present context and using your broad-based understanding, you have to decide what we should do, right? So now tell me, will you allow a new coal mine to open up or not?
Sir, firstly, I would go for the environmental impact assessment. And the first step in that would be screening of the project. Is that project really important? And are the benefits more than the costs involved? So that would be my first concern. And then second would be the alternatives. So instead of going for open cast mining or underground mining, can we go for modern technologies such as underground coal gasification, which minimize the environmental impacts considerably? So I would first take into account these factors and then only I will decide.
Do India need new mines, or do we need to
Sir,
improve the efficiency of the present mine, or do we need to diversify to non-coal sources? Right? What is yours? Like, what should be the balance?
Sir, we have to diversify, that is for sure. We have to diversify away from the fossil fuels. They are our INDC also. But as Niti Aayog has also said that reducing dependency from coal would not be possible in such a short time. And by 2030, our own demand for coal would be around 1.2 to 1.5 billion tons. So definitely we need to increase coal production, but at the same time we have to go for clean coal technologies and uh, increasing efficiency of the operations rather than just going for new projects. We can improve the efficiency of the current project, or we can convert some of the projects into coal gasification, coal bed methane. We can tap these things.
All right, all right. So my last question to you is you read books, right? You read audio books. So have you read book named Sapiens?
Yes, sir. I will.
Okay, so Sapiens in which Yuval Noah Harari, he said that in the ancient time, right? In the ancient time, the tribal people were not, they were never malnourished, right? But in the present time, the most of the malnourished data comes from the tribal dominated district, right? Especially in Madhya Pradesh, even in Rajasthan, Jharkhand, in these area. So, what could be the possible reason for lack of malnourishment in the ancient time, but it's present in modern times for the tribal population?
Yes. Sir, as far as the tribals are concerned, in earlier times they were dependent on wholesome forest diets. I mean, from fruits to roots and all those things. But in the recent times, they have most of they have been affected by migration and in migration also and out migration also. And plus, there are many tribal communities who are being dispossessed of the forest. So they are now dependent on PDS, which are mostly focused on wheat and rice. So that wholesome nutrition is, I mean, not possible for them. So that might be a reason for malnutrition.
All right, so like that's it from my side. Now Shreyas sir can take over if he's there.
So, how are you? How was your day today?
I'm good, sir. It has been very good so far.
Okay, so I'll ask you. I see a discrepancy in your hobbies. So, what do you write in diary? Do you write in physical form or do you write in online form?
Sir, physical.
Physical form. But so here you write in physical form, but there you don't read the books. You see online audio books. Why is it such kind of discrepancy?
Sir, in when it comes to audiobooks, I mean, I can listen to audiobooks while doing other works also. So that is why I prefer audiobooks. Apart from that, I listen to audiobooks while going to sleep also. So in that way, I minimize my phone usage. So I just put headphones and then I mean, I play a book and then let myself go to sleep while listening to books.
Okay,
So
but
that reduces my screen time.
some say actually many students I've met who say that they cannot get the real feel of books in either in online form or either in audiobooks. The real feel of book is only when you actually read it. That is why you are maintaining a diary. So then why are you maintaining a physical diary and not an online diary?
Sir, diary writing is, I mean, somewhat difficult, different from listening to books. So, listening has many advantages over reading. But when I have to write it, I mean, either writing on a gadget or a soft copy or a hard copy, I would prefer hard copy. That
Okay.
gives me a feel. Like,
Okay. Since you have got experience in mining, so let us say you are a DFO of a mining district where a mined out area has to be rehabilitated. So what species of trees will you prefer or grasses will you prefer for mining areas?
Sir, I would go for the native species. Firstly, I would go for those grasses and trees which would be beneficial for the local communities, like multi-purpose tree species. We have
Okay. Then
neem in Rajasthan. We have Prosopis cinerea, KGD, all these types of species.
in mined out areas, do you think that these species will be able to grow, or you need specific species that are able to survive in the environmentally degraded areas of mined out areas?
Yes, sir. We need some hardy species which can grow in these areas and which can grow in the adverse conditions. So,
Okay.
mm,
So please read about it. I mean, you should mention the species. So I see that your hobby is international relations. So what use of is this hobby for as an IFS officer?
sir, I believe environment and more recently climate change, it surpasses boundaries. It is affecting every country. So international relations and the international events, whatever is happening between nations, it is very important for the forestry and environment sector. Like UNFCCC, the Conference of Parties, the global agreements happening on the issue of environment and climate change, and global forestry projects and all. So,
Okay, so recently we are seeing that there's a new term called net zero or whatever carbon neutrality pushed by the West. But don't you think this goes against the Paris objectives of 2030? Why is India opposing joining this net zero or carbon neutrality?
Sir, India has its own developmental challenges also, and it is very difficult to shift to renewable energy sources in order to achieve net zero commitments for India, given the resources we have and given the responsibilities we have. We have around 25% of population below poverty line, and we have millions of people without electricity access. So first, we have to take care of our own people. And secondly, going to net zero would require huge investment as well as technology that should be transferred from the developed countries to developing countries. Unless that happens, it would be very difficult for India to match the timeline set by the developed nations for net zero.
Okay, so what is the timeline where the Western countries have proposed the net zero for themselves?
Sir, most of the Western countries have proposed it to be achieved by 2050, while China has set it at 2060 and India has committed it for 2070.
Okay. Don't you think that they are, first of all, they are many of the Western countries are unable to pursue Paris aims, and they are changing the goalpost from Paris to net zero, of putting it at a later date.
Yes, sir. Partly it is true because they had to achieve, ambitious goals till Paris, even till Paris. But moving it to 2050 would be somewhat akin to shifting the goalpost. And as IPCC 6 assessment report has said that even if the Western countries achieve net zero, we will surpass our target of 1.5 degree or 2 degree Celsius increase in the global temperature. So they
Okay.
need to achieve it even before.
Coal is a very bad fuel. It has got low calorific value. It is a big pollutant. It causes many deaths. So, what do you think can be an energy source that will replace coal as a source of stable and continuous energy supply in the future?
So the best source I can see is solar energy because it is
But
cheap.
can it provide continuous supply?
So the reliability is a big problem, but the advances we are seeing in battery technology would surely take care of that concern.
Okay, so let us say I am asking you to choose between nuclear power and coal power. What will you prefer?
So I
And the
would prefer,
year is 2050 when you are pretty much retiring. So, what energy will you prefer by then?
sorry, sir, nuclear power versus
So,
solar.
I am asking you to choose between nuclear power and coal power in the year 2050. So, what energy would be suitable for India?
Sir, between nuclear and coal power, I would choose nuclear power because it
Nuclear
is
power.
much cleaner.
So, are you aware of the three-stage nuclear program of India?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I
please,
am.
can you tell me?
Sir, in the first stage, we have pressurized heavy water reactors where uh, plutonium is produced from uranium 238. Then, in the second stage, that plutonium would be used along with uranium 235 in the fast breeder reactors, which breed more fuel than they consume. So, they would produce uranium 233. And in the third stage, we plan to use our monazite sands, that is thorium reserves, along with
Okay.
enriched
What
uranium.
is this concept called the petrodollar, which we are reading in the news?
Sir, petrodollar economy, as far as I know, is used for the Gulf economies, which their whole economies are based on petroleum.
Okay, no, that's not the case. Please read into it.
I'll read them.
Okay, electrical. How will you use electrical engineering as an IFS officer?
Sir, there are some applications like power tools, like cable yarding, then DC energizer fence. Then apart from that, transmission lines passing through forest. So there also my knowledge as an electrical engineer would help me. Because there are guidelines by MOEFCC that there should be at least two inspections in a year by joint inspections by forest department as well as electrical department. Apart from that, sir, solar applications would also help me. Solar fencing, solar power on the offices. So in those areas, my knowledge as electrical engineer would help.
Okay, so how will you apply your knowledge of geology as an IFS officer?
Sir, regarding the uh, the parent material, regarding the soils, and what kind of soils, which soils have which kind of nutrients, would be handy to decide what kind of species to be grown in a particular forest. And then the slope aspects, and for the hill forest and all the slope aspects, etc., they would also help me.
Okay, what is the Forest Conservation Act? Briefly define the Forest Conservation Act for me.
Sir, it is an act to safeguard or to prevent the diversion of forest land for non-forestry purposes.
Okay, so if then what is the subsequent net present value and compensatory afforestation? Because these things are not mentioned in the Act, Forest Conservation Act.
So net present value is the present value of the forest that are to be diverted for non-forestry purposes. And this value is taken care of while deciding the compensation by the project authorities that has to be paid into the CAMPA fund. And CAMPA is that compensatory afforestation authority, which oversees the compensatory afforestation efforts.
Okay, so which came first? NPV came first or compensatory afforestation came first?
Sir, I'm not exactly sure. I'll read.
Okay. So are you aware of what is the exact value, around rough value of 1 acre of land in under net present value?
So I'll read.
Okay, okay. So no issues. So since you are from Rajasthan and Indira Gandhi Canal is a very important lifeline for it, and we all know the positives. So tell me the negatives of Indira Gandhi Canal.
So the biggest negative has been salinization of soil due to over irrigation. Due to flood irrigation, the soil has become saline, which is called as ooser or ray or color. Apart from that, sir, it has also altered cropping patterns because due to availability of water, rice is grown in the northern parts, northern and western parts of Rajasthan, which is, I mean, not the ecology. The ecology of area is not suited to rice, but due to availability of water, rice is grown. So that shift of cropping pattern is also a driver.
Okay. Okay, then other thing is Great Indian Bustard. Why is conservation is very difficult in comparison to a tiger?
So its conservation is difficult because it lays only one egg in a year. Then it prefers to live in open grasslands where its eggs are not safe from other predators. Apart from that, its only habitat in Rajasthan, it is somewhat open, the Desert National Park. So it has many habitations inside and it is not currently fenced. So it is also vulnerable to poaching. And the last and one of the bigger threats is the power lines passing through the areas, especially increasing in the wake of the increase in solar energy projects in the Western Ghats. So that again is a threat. It is a heavy burden.
So regarding power lines, has particular steps been taken to solve this problem? You
Yes,
are
sir.
electrical engineer also.
Yes, sir. On the direction of Supreme Courts, many of the power lines in the core habitat area of Godawan, the Great Indian Bustard, have been made underground. So that has somewhat reduced the depths of the birds.
Okay. Can you mention the types of rights under the Forest Rights Act?
Yes, sir. So the first are individual rights that are given to people who are living there for 75 years or three generations. And the second rights are the community rights over pasture land, over the water resources, over the pond, the Nistar rights, as we call them. And the third rights are the forest conservation rights. So the local communities have also given rights to conserve the forest along with the forest.
Okay. Thank you, Vinod. I'll now pass on to Abhishek, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Vinod.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay, you are from Rajasthan,
Yeah.
right? Can I say just like there are two India, India and the Bharat, right? Can I say there are two Rajasthan?
Sir, in that sense, yes, it's very well true that there are two Rajasthans because there are 3 million plus cities, Jodhpur, Jaipur, and Udaipur. They are somewhat more urbanized, and most of the Rajasthan is, rural, is dominated by rural population.
Okay, okay. Can you divide it geologically?
Okay, geologically, Rajasthan forms the part of Western Shield, which can be divided into, three provinces. So the first is Banded Nising Complex, which encompasses the eastern part of Rajasthan, the eastern plains. The second is Aravali Delhi province, which encompasses the Aravali supergroup and Delhi supergroup of rocks. And the third is Trans Aravali province, which encompasses the Marwar supergroup rocks.
Okay, okay. Now I can see you are interested in diary writing, right?
Yes.
Okay. What do you write?
Sir, whatever I feel like writing, whatever I feel like recording in my diary, like something happened to me, or I did something well, or something significant happening to me, like this interview. So I would like to record the experience I have in this interview.
Okay, okay.
This time.
How is it going to help you in your daily life as a forest officer?
So in daily life, it would help me introspect on my commissions as well as omissions and be better every day. So if I write it, I analyze it also. And then I think about those and what could I have done better. So that would help me improve.
Okay. Will you allow me to read it?
I guess no, sir.
No.
It has many personal things, so I
Okay, okay. No problem, no problem. So you are also interested in international affairs, right?
yes.
Can you tell me about Sri Lanka crisis?
Yes, sir. Sri Lanka, is facing an unprecedented economic crisis where foreign forex reserves have been very low. They are not sufficient to cover the imports, and apart from that, they are facing shortage of essential commodities like food and fuel. So, due to that, the people have come out on the streets protesting against the government.
Okay. Does it have something to do with organic farming?
Yes, sir. Organic farming is one of the causes of this crisis because Sri Lankan government last year declared their goal to become completely organic in the coming years. And then they shifted it drastically. They shifted their agriculture drastically to organic farming, like they banned chemical fertilizers and all those things. These things affected the overall production. So that production was affected, the local production declined by much. And then they were dependent on imports, but they did not have enough forex reserves for imports. So this caused shortage of food articles.
Okay, okay. So you are an electrical engineer, right? Can you tell me what is AT&C loss?
Sir, the overall aggregate technical as well as commercial losses that happen when electricity passes through the transmission as well as distribution lines. So, in technical losses, it is due to resistive losses and eddy currents and all. And in commercial losses, it is due to the theft as well as the faulty equipment they transfer.
Okay. What is the difference between resistance, reactance, and capacitance?
Resistance all three are resistance. They hinder the flow of this electrical current. But reactance and capacitance are reactive. They are in. I need to read more on this.
Okay, okay. No problem. How many national parks in Rajasthan?
So there are three national parks: Ranthambore, then Kevladev Ghana, and Mukunda.
Have you visited any of them?
So not these three. I did not get a chance, but I have visited Talchapar Wildlife Sanctuary.
Okay, okay, good, good. What is a line relocation program?
Sir, lion relocation program is a proposed relocation program of lions, the Gujarat Gir lions from Gujarat to MP and other states, but currently the Gujarat government has refused. The,
Okay. Is it being done in one of the protected area of Rajasthan?
sir, uh, I think Mukundra Hills was being considered as a possible site, but I mean, it has been refused by the Gujarat government, so it is not being currently done.
Okay, why Gujarat is refusing? Do you think it is good?
Sir, they are saying that this Gir lions are Gujarat's heritage, and Gujarat is known by them. And apart from that, it is a huge source of revenue also for Gujarat. That is the reason Gujarat is refusing. The second reason they give is the uncertainty regarding the adaptation of the lion to other
Okay,
habitats apart from.
what's your take on it?
Sir, I guess this project should be considered. I mean, they should be relocated because if the population of lions increase in Gujarat, that will be detrimental to the local people in the form of man-animal conflict. And if they are relocated to other habitats, we can increase their population, as in the case of tigers. We almost doubled their population in the last 15 years. So this can be done in case of lions also if they are relocated to other.
Okay, my last question to you. Uh, Tell me your three qualities that will make you a good IFS officer.
Sir, the first one is perseverance. So I have huge amount of perseverance, and that would help me as a forest officer because in forest the results come very late. It is the nature of job is you do afforestation and the results, the fruits of your labor come very late. So perseverance is required. The second quality is positive attitude. So I like to keep positive attitude in face of adversities. And forestry being a challenging and field job, that positive attitude is required. Mm. Seeing the toughness of the job as well as the shortage of manpower, you need to be positive as a leader, as an officer. I need to be positive and keep my subordinates also positive. So that would also help. So, third is sincerity of purpose. So whenever I do something, I do it with utmost dedication. So that would also help me as a person.
That's all from my side. Over to you, Mayank sir.
All right, Vinod, before ending the mock, I'll ask you the last question. Have you visited any zoo?
Yes, sir. I recently visited Banerghatta National Park, the zoo in Bangalore.
All right. So, like with respect to zoo, some environmentalists say that there are like there are some unethical, there are some ethical issues involved there, right? So, like cruelty to animal and some other things. So, can you enlist three these ethical issues and what you say on it, right? I'm asking in the light that some people suggest that in modern times zoo are unethical, right? Because they curb the freedom of the animals and all these things. So, what is your say on it in a very brief manner?
Sir, zoo might look unethical at the first instance, but they have some positive things also. Firstly, they allow us and they enable us to study the behavior of animals, which we can utilize in their conservation, in their larger conservation in open areas, in situ conservation. Secondly, the injured animals from the forest, they are taken to zoo for their rehabilitation before being let into the forest. And third is zoos are also centers of captive breeding also. So that again is a very important step in the overall conservation. So there are some animals, it is true that the freedom of those wild animals is being curbed, but that is being done for the benefit of larger community. So that utilitarianism principle would justify the continuation of zoos for the overall benefit of the species and.
So, all right, Vinod, it was great talking to you. Your mock is over. You can please leave the call for few minutes, and then after 2 3 minutes, you join back. I'll text you for the